This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
A ride. So apparently, Craig Erickson injured his knee in the Hula Bowl in 91. So then he did not go to the Eagles and then got redrafted the following year. I didn't even remember that, dude. Did you remember that, Manny?
I did not, brother.
Craig Erickson was drafted 2 years in a row by two different teams. That's pretty cool.
Crazy. That's crazy. But they wouldn't do that today, right? That was just an old school.
Yeah, it must have been. It must have been because if he gets injured in the Hula Bowl and you still own his rights and then he goes back into the draft, yeah, that's kind of odd. Yeah.
It's really weird.
That's kind of odd.
Unless they like revoke the rights and allowed, I mean, who knows what the
I don't know what the rules were then. Right. What are you going to say, Sean?
I was to add to even more of the trivia question. Bo Jackson was the other player. Both of them were drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Wow, yeah.
How about that?
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Yep. Pretty interesting. And it's all because it's a conversation that, people were, one guy was like, dude, why is it you do this kind of stuff that you kind of get this crazy stuff right? And Cam Ward was one of them. Tank for Cam Ward. Oh, he's better than Shador. And I'm like, yo, you guys need to slow the hell down, bro. Cam Ward ain't nothing like Shador. And if Cam Ward might be a first round, but he's middle to late first round, early second. He's not Shador Sanders. Now people are kind of seeing what's going on because they get all hyped out of the Tyreek thing. I said over and over again, do not guarantee him money. Do not guarantee him money. You have seen two 1,700-yard seasons. The guy's 30 years old. He's got a shit ton of off-the-field issues. Don't do it. How's it looking now? Not looking good, right? But obviously, I looked like the dick a couple months ago. Oh, you're a hater. You're this. You're that. You don't like Tyreek. No, bro, it's not that I don't like Tyreek. It's just I got to be honest here. That's what I do here. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. And that's kind of where it all started, and then we started into the other quarterbacking stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, talk to us about this defense, my brother, because this is as bad as it gets.
Yeah, I think when you think about it upon reflection, and you think about how the season started, right, and how good they looked against Florida, and then some of the injuries that happened in that game. I think we all sort of glossed over the injuries, right? Damari Brown was a big loss. Ruben Bain was a big loss. And I think, while Ruben Bain has come back and he's starting, I certainly don't think he's 100%, right? And he was supposed to be your best defensive player at the get-go. Damari Brown was probably going to be your best cover guy. And Miami just, won games with offense and kept surviving week to week to week. But, eventually teams are going to adjust to you. And I thought Georgia Tech did a good job frustrating Cam Ward, frustrating his receivers, getting away with some stuff in the secondary in terms of holding, etc. And the defense just wasn't up to par, and it hasn't been all season. And what happened was they finally lost the game because of it, because those guys, first of all, the last few weeks for several of these players, Tyler Barron in particular, who Miami obviously paid handsomely to get out of the transfer portal, he has not produced as like he was the first 4 or 5 games of the season. And so to me, it finally came to bite them in the ass that they were surviving with Cam Ward saving them every single week, basically.
Yeah. No, it's kind of what it's been. It reminds me so much of the Marino era, where you score a whole bunch of points, but your defense allows just as many or more, and that becomes a problem every single week. So where is the light at the end of the tunnel? Because, supposedly there's some names there on defense, but is it a shortcoming from the players? Is it a shortcoming from coaching? Mix? Where do we point fingers at? Because it's embarrassing.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of both things. I think, Lance Guidry's kind of been stubborn sometimes with his play calling, sticking with man coverage, keeping guys at certain positions when he should probably move them to other positions, But part of it, again, you don't have two of the guys that were supposed to be two of your best defensive players. One of them you have in the lineup. He's not really 100%. He's not performing like the guy we saw last year. And the other one's been out the whole season. So I think, again, that's why I go back to that. Like we kind of all forgot that because Miami just got off, they were winning games. So you forget, hey, they lost 2 of their best defensive players. And I think what's happened is you just haven't had other guys step up and perform at a higher level than they've been asked to do. So part of it to me is I think guys are playing hero ball. Some of them are. You see them getting out of gaps, for instance. So you go back and you study the big runs that Georgia Tech had in this game. Tyler Barron's going inside instead of setting the edge and forcing the runner back inside. He's trying to go inside himself to make the play in the backfield. So some of it is hero ball. Some of it is defensive play calling. But I think a lot of it is just this wasn't a very good defense coming into the year. And I tried to tell people that if the front seven doesn't get pressure on the quarterback and isn't disruptive in making plays, then the secondary is Swiss cheese. And that's what's happened.
Yeah, and by the way, just for this one guy out there, because he says, Big O, it's Kelly, Kozar, Testaverde, and Ward all time for Canes. Bubba, Ward doesn't come close to Dorsey and Walsh. Just so you'll know. Just because the athleticism and all that other crap, that doesn't mean shit to me. Testaverde doesn't come close to Dorsey and Walsh. Just so you'll know. Okay,
right.
It's not for you, Manny. It's just for Aquavision, who lives in some kind of echo chamber there. I go with winners. I go with actual accuracy, possession, guys that really know how to pass the football. And in key moments, Vinny Testaverde, in his dreams, couldn't be Steve Walsh, buddy. In his dreams, couldn't be.
Just go back to that Fiesta Bowl. That's all you need to see.
Please, bro. Please don't insult my intelligence. And you, my man, you have very little Canes knowledge. Okay, because if you leave the 2 most winningest quarterbacks off that list just because you're going by pure athleticism, we all know Vinny Testaverde athletically is the most gifted Cane ever. Actually, really. To be honest, that's the most gifted Cane, and he's the biggest choking Cane in the history of mankind. You can keep him if you want, buddy. I don't want anything to do with Vinny Testaverde. But let's get back. No, the carajo, to leave Walsh and Dorsey off? Are you kidding me, bro? 2 guys that if Dorsey would have another championship if it wasn't for a concussion.
Yes. Yeah, and a knee injury to Willis McGahee.
Yeah, but I mean, he was concussed on that play, bro.
Yeah, that too. No, listen.
Has he ever really admitted it, by the way?
No, I should ask him one day. I should sit down and ask him
because we saw the CTE and the coaching thing destroying laptops. Okay, that's CTE right there. If I've seen it before. Anyway, let's get back to it. No, but seriously, I mean, this defensive stuff, they've got to fix it, brother.
I don't know that I don't know that they can. They went all in on offense. You knew that from the team construct, what they spent their money on. They wanted pass rushers, and again, I think I'm not trying to make excuses for them, right? But everybody agreed at the end of last season who was Miami's best defensive player coming back. It was Ruben Bain, right? And you look at Ruben Bain's numbers. I think he's got 5 missed tackles and 5 pressures in his last 3 games. That's what he's accomplished.
Yeah.
You were counting on him to be your big leader and basically have a bunch of other guys be supporting cast. And so to me, it starts up front of the defensive line. You don't have guys that are dominating up there. And they were paid to do so. They were basically given a big chunk of the NIL budget to do that. And so to me, the secondary stuff, I'm not upset with the guys in the secondary. I'm not. It's not, to me, I think most of those guys would be role players and not starters on a very good Miami team. I don't know which of those guys in the secondary I look at and say, I mean, OJ Frederick's a true freshman, and he's the best guy they've got in the secondary.
I like him. He's got a little moxie to his game, dude.
He does. He's a smart kid, went to St. Thomas Aquinas and grew up in South Florida playing high-level players, lining up against Jeremiah Smith and those kind of guys that are going to be super NFL superstars. And so to me, he's the best they've got. And that's all you need to know. When I tell you a true freshman came in and he's their best defensive back, that tells you what the recruiting that, again, Mario has to elevate this roster in certain areas. He has already to this point. Offensive line, you can say it's, just eons ahead of what it used to be, right? in the previous 20 years. Running back, they've got real running back depth again with what he's got. The receivers with Xavier Restrepo and the other guys have been solid. You upgraded a quarterback, but you still need to build on the other side of the football. And I said this on my podcast this week. You look at this roster construct, you basically have a bunch of seniors that you love and then a bunch of freshmen. There's no in between. There's no like sophomore and junior development. And that's from him taking over the team and that transition year of taking the team over Manny Diaz, guys leaving. So that's what I think they're missing on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah. Okay, but here's where I need your coaching to shine, bro.
Yeah, I agree.
Here's where I need you to show me that you can, overcome some stuff and be better at. Not all the time, but at times. And this is, this is what I've talked about this week. That when we talk Mario Cristobal, we talk about what a great human being, what a great recruiter, how he outworks. But we never really say that Mario Cristobal is the guy that outcoaches people. Right. That is not what he's ever known for, that he's outsmarting the coach on the other side. And I kind of think that right now, this is what this coaching staff needs to be. They need to find a crafty way. Look, the late, great Tony Sperano, okay? Mm-hmm. I know I'm throwing around great, but in honor of him, being passed away, in respect to him, his team was freaking desperate for something. And they pulled the Wildcat out of their ass. Yep. And it gave them some life. And then they figured it out. But for a few weeks, it threw people off and it gave them a couple of wins and it kind of, triggered something. That's what coaching does at times. You've got to find something. Your defense is terrible. Brother, there's got to be some kind of an adjustment you can make to help your team out a little bit, because to take the field every time like this. And now they're figuring out, okay, if we run the ball a lot, now we're going to cut the possessions for Cam Ward in half. And all of a sudden now, Canes aren't going to be able to score that many points, and we're going to stay in the game. So you got to find a way to get the hell off the field and show some coaching here.
Well, I think part of this is running the football on the offensive side. You talk about the other team wanting to slow Miami down. You got to run the ball better than if you're Miami and put the pressure on them, right? Don't let them have the ball for 35, 40 minutes. You keep the ball for 30, 35 minutes, and you force their offense to have to speed things up and play a little bit more uncomfortable. And so if that's the game they want to take you out of because they can, because your defense is Swiss cheese, well, then Mario and the offense need to make an adjustment on that side of the ball. And I think, again, they're putting too much on Cam Ward's shoulders. You look at those last couple possessions, they had, I think, 3 turnovers on downs in Georgia Tech territory, where it's like, you're running 4th and 1 in particular, you're running play action. You're supposed to be a big badass offensive line with big backs. Run the ball for a yard, keep the drive going. You don't need to run play action there. So to me, take a little bit of pressure off of Cam, run the ball a little bit more, and force the other team to have to speed up and make and play with a little bit more desperation. I thought the Georgia Tech game really exposed them on the coaching side in terms of, a smart coach on the other side, game planning perfectly to beat them and them being unable to make adjustments.
I'm with you there. All right. Bye week. What are they working on this week? Injury wise, all those kind of things.
Yeah. I mean, Simeon Barrow got banged up in this game. I know he came back in, but he spent a good chunk of this game with ice on his knee. And so to me, he'll be an interesting one to watch because he's been a 10-game starter for you. You need him healthy if you're going to have any chance of slowing the other team down, And to me, I want to see if you see some young guys get some more opportunities here. They've recruited well. When you look at the snap counts for some of these young guys, because you have not been in a lot of blowouts, because you've been playing a lot of close games, these guys haven't been able to get in there and get any real playing experience. So to me, I want to see, some of these other young guys get some opportunities, particularly at linebacker. I don't think the linebacker play has been very good. Kiko Mauino has been really, really inconsistent all season long. Slipping and missing tackles, and I want to see somebody else get some opportunities, whether that's a young guy or Jalen Alderman, who I thought was a pretty good transfer pickup from Louisville. So make changes. Don't go status quo. I want to see changes against Wake Forest. And by the way, Wake Forest is 3-0 on the road this season. They're not a very good team, but they're 3-0 on the road, so they play their best football away from home. So we'll see what happens at Hard Rock a week from tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, right now it's hard to imagine that they're going to run the table and win the ACC championship game. I have a hard time believing that the way it's being coached and the way that defense is playing right now. And on top of all of that, you're putting Cam in a really difficult position every week.
Yep.
Because he has to be near perfect, because every mistake he makes becomes so catastrophic because your defense can't stop anybody, and then that just gives the other team an extra possession when it's all said and done, or an opportunity to score. And so that also puts Cam in a very uncomfortable position week in and week out.
It does. You're asking him to be the hero every single week, and again, I think you take the pressure off of him by, look, you paid Damon Martinez a lot of money to come here. Run the ball more. There's no, huh?
It sounds funny, bro. You paid him a lot of money.
It's
college football now, right?
But this is the way it's been going for decades. It's just we never talked about it, right? I mean, but the point is, use the running game to help your offense out and take pressure off. Use a little bit more play action. Don't throw it on 4th and 1. Run the football. You're supposed to be big and bad at with this offensive line. Run the damn ball.
You mean back in the day we weren't saying, you see that 300 ZX that Michael Irvin is driving? Catch the damn ball.
Exactly. They know what's up.
And by the way, he was driving a 300 ZX.
Michael, I wish these guys in the 80s and 90s would come out and just be honest about all the stuff that they really did. You remember Kelvin Harris? He was the starting center for Gino Torretta on the 91 team.
Yeah.
And Kelvin and I are pretty good friends, and I hear all the great stories of all the great stuff that these guys used to do behind the scenes, and I'm like, hey man, we need to write a book about this, man. People would love to hear these stories.
Yeah, I'm having fun with it, but literally it was a really nice 300 ZX that he had back in the day. Everybody knew about it. It's kind of like, it's back in the day. I remember Miami High was tearing ass, and they were dominating and all that. Shaky Rodriguez was the coach and all that, and Cesar Portillo was his center.
Yep.
Living in his house.
Yeah, man. Back when
I believe he was Venezuelan, but he was a 6'10" Venezuelan that could play basketball, and so Shaky recruited him from Venezuela, and he had nowhere to live. So hey, live with us.
Yeah.
And like we all knew what was going on, but like nobody said anything. You know what I mean? It was just like one of those things. You keep
it up. But by the way, I just heard this the other day. I didn't even realize this. I interviewed this kid who transferred mid-season in high school. You can now play for another team. So you can play for one school one week, one school the next. So yeah, I didn't even realize. But can you imagine Shaky Rodriguez, God rest his soul, Shaky Rodriguez, coaching in an era where you could pick up a transfer from week to week? I mean, it's crazy, but that's the high school rules now. Before we used, everything had to be hidden. Who's moving where? This guy's illegal. This guy's not illegal.
God, all the shit I can talk about now. Holy shit! God, I know so much stuff of that. Oh my God, too much. It's too fun. Anyway, what do you got going on the Athletics so folks can check you out during this bye week?
Yeah, man. Well, I just wrote about the ACC, playoff picture and tiebreakers and that whole thing to explain it to people, because people are, well, Manny, what if they lose, or can they still get in the ACC title game? What are the tiebreakers and all that kind of stuff? That you go deep down the rabbit hole. There's college football is a mess. So these huge leagues, and then determine the SEC, LSU can actually get into the SEC title game still. Which is crazy after they just got their asses handed to them by Alabama. So the tiebreakers are nuts, and the ACC has its own set of issues with the amount of teams it has. So you can read about that there, and you can read my oddly specific picks column. No game for me this weekend, so I'm going to get to I got my daughter's soccer game tonight. She's got 2 games this weekend, one tonight, one Sunday. So I will be doing the dad thing here with travel soccer. But I will be watching Saturday and probably riding off of a game or two.
Well, good luck to her. Hope she
Thank you.
gets a couple victories there, my brother. And follow
Appreciate
him
it.
on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. And what, Blue Sky?
Blue Sky. I just joined Blue Sky, so you can find me there. If you want to find me in Blue Sky, I just signed up.
Is it also Manny_Navarro so I can follow you also?
It's actually just Manny Navarro. I think I took the underscore out. So
good for you. All right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'm gonna follow him now. Yeah, I'm gonna go to Blue Sky and follow you now too.
Yeah, I just signed up yesterday, so I'm trying to get everybody else. I'm trying to follow everybody else who I follow on X over there as well.
Okay. All right. I will definitely follow you, my brother. There you go. I figured I'd mention Blue Sky since that's like the hottest thing now. I got in on it a few months back, and all of a sudden now I see everybody wants to get on it and shit. So
yes.
All right. Good stuff, Manny. Appreciate you. Have a great weekend, my brother.
All right, brother. You too.
You got it. The great Manny Navarro. There we go. I just followed him on Blue Sky. Don't forget, you can follow me to Caneswear. Use our code BIG010. You will get 10% off anything and everything with the Canes logo on it. Heat, Miami Dolphins, InterMiami, those big chokers. You can pick up anything for those chokers. They've got a choking Messi jersey there, a choking Messi shirt there. They've got all kinds of choking stuff there for InterMiami. They've got Marlins cheap gear because they're cheap and you can probably get a cheap price on it, all that kind of stuff. So get on down there, 2655 South University Drive in Davie, baby. It is Caneswear.com.